this is totally thanks to Dr. Thomas Mast, who's coming to do the demo with us, and the Instrument Shop, who helped put the rig together. So I'm going to switch over so you guys can see the demo. And then since this is our first time, please be patient with technical difficulties. All right.
Okay, so like Anne-Marie just said, we're going to be listening to spikes coming through a cockroach's leg. And these spikes, these are from sensory neurons that allow the cockroach to detect, gusts of wind. And that's how the cockroach helps it to move around in that environment. Just like we use vision to move around in our environment, these guys can use wind gusts to help them orient themselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to need a cockroach leg. So what I have here is a cockroach in a vat of ice water. And so what I'm doing is I'm anesthetizing the cockroach. So I'm getting it really cold, and it can't really feel anything. Just like you get your hands really cold, they kind of go numb. It's not a sensation too many Floridians have on a regular basis, unless you're at a certain kind of party with beverages stored in a very specific kind of beverage storage device, and that your preferred beverage tends to be at the bottom. You spend a lot of time there looking for that beverage. So what we have now, so I have this cup, it's really cold. I got a cockroach here at the bottom. So here he is. And so what we're going to do, we'll put him directly on the ice, get him a little bit more cold, so he doesn't move around so much.
They're also cold-blooded. It really slows them down.
Yeah, so they can't fight off this cold. They just kind of succumb to it. And if anybody can see, it's not moving very much right now. I have him sitting right here directly on the ice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut its leg off, and it won't really feel it. When it wakes up at night, we don't know. We've never interviewed a cockroach. It doesn't work like a minimum.
But they grow back.
Yeah, so if it's a young cockroach, they go through nymphs and they shed their exoskeleton. If this cockroach is young enough that it's going to shed its exoskeleton again, it'll just regrow. So, you can see now it's a lot colder, it's moving less. Yeah, poor cockroach. Put them there. So that's the leg. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2 electrodes in it. We're going to need one electrode is kind of like a ground, and that is it's a reference. We use this to. Now this cockroach is actually pretty sturdy. Now we're going to put another one here in the leg. See how well we can get this. Let's try. Yeah, you can see it there, can't you? All right. What else we should do?
So the neurons don't work even though it's not connected to the nerves?
Yeah, so they'll work for a little while. We played around with this a lot yesterday. I mean, you got to keep going for about 20 minutes. And if you decided for whatever reason to get a PhD in this, you could record from neurons. What we'll do is we'll take brains from mice and rats, and you can actually get them super cold and slice them really thin. And I've been able to keep neurons in that situation alive for about 10 hours. Does that help? Yeah, it does. All right. So,
You want to switch to the spike?
real quick though. So here's the leg, and so here are some of these hairs. See these little spikes coming off? And each one of those hairs has a sensory neuron going up into it. And when the actual exoskeleton flexes, that'll move the neuron inside. Yeah, so what we're going to do now is record the spikes coming off this leg. I'm just going to blow on the leg using a free program called Audacity. So if anybody in here is likes to make their own beats. You can download Audacity and make your own beats. You can upload a track of you laying down your sweet rhymes, and then you can combine those sweet rhymes with these beats. We are going to do none of that. I promise you there will be 0 sweet rhymes. But what we are going to do, so I have this little, yeah, I have this little box that I have the cockroach set up on. It's from a company called Backyard Brains, or in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And so if you want to record your own action potentials, go to backyardbrains.com and you can make your own setup. Like I made this for 50 bucks. It's not a big deal. And what we're going to do, the output of this guy, which is essentially its leg.
Look at all the wiring we got in the shop.
Well, we
built some of them.
So the output of this was going directly into the laptop, just in the mic in on your laptop. So every one of you guys sitting at that laptop has a mic in port. And that the Audacity is going to record the mic in, and all it's going to record is the little voltage display coming off the leg.
There's also an app that you can do on your iPhone.
Yeah, so you can do it on your, or if you're a Droid user, you can do this on a Droid. That takes a little better cable than what you have here. You can actually see it's recording the machine, the software program is recording from the mic right now, and so there's 2 inputs on the mic that's stereo, and so you can see it's hearing my voice in one channel right now. The right channel, that's what we're going to get from the leg. So we should just be able to go.
Yep.
So now it's recording. That's my voice. A little noisy. I'm too sensitive. There we go.
I really like this over
See how it gets that burst there?
Yeah.
Burst. Burst. Burst.
Just trying
Burst. And so that's the leg just constantly getting a big burst of action potentials from me blowing on it, and then over to see how it's nice and quiet. It's picking up it's so sensitive, it's actually picking up me a little bit. So that's the legs. You can also poke it. So you can actually, if you really wanted to be very careful and try and figure out exactly how this leg is sensing wind from all different directions, you can go through and touch each individual hair, and then each individual hair will fire action potentials at a time. You can actually make like a map of how the hairs are sensing the air. And so I can do this. So that there, what we're seeing here in that big one, that's both me touching it and the action potentials happening at the same time. That's a little better.
Here's one.
Here's a good one. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, so this here is probably me deflecting it, and these are the little spikes running on top of it. So these slow ones, these really slow ones here, like these 2 in a row, that's noise. That big one riding on top of it, that's an action potential. In this guy, you can actually see the perfect action potential shape. Yeah, it jumps up and then comes back down below. Look at that. That's a perfect action potential shape there. So what we have here is baseline, and then we get a little bit of noise here, and then from me touching it, one axon fired an action potential. And the action potential, depending on where your electrode is, it's usually seen as a positive going voltage deflection, and then a sharp downward, and then like this little hook that returns you back to baseline. You can see See on this little thing here? This is probably true noise happening right before the action potential. So that's what action potentials look like. They're these, and that's why we call them spikes, because when you go back to something like this, or even this, they're just these big noisy things. And it's not until you stretch out the time that you can really see them. But, so if we wanted to see something really cool.
So far, Tom's been recording the electricity coming into sensory neurons. So the roach has been sensing Tom and sending a signal. We can do the reverse. We can activate the motor neurons by sending our own electrical signal. So, get that up in here.
So does anybody have any questions about the sensory action potential?
Is that like the neurotransmitters? Is that how
You guys see that?
That's the chemical part that we're going to talk about on Thursday. This is just the electrical part that's shooting back. We're going to talk about that a lot. So you're going to tell them what you're doing?
So I'm hooking up some stimulating electrodes.
So you want to try and get the paper underneath?
Yeah.
I can't see.
So you guys see the legs, you see the hairs. It's in a funky view because the bottom of the leg is kind of at an angle coming out the screen. But this is like, you know, this is this down here. But so it's actually coming out at me like 3D. So we actually, James Cameron wanted to shoot this, but we said and so now,
Speak up.
Yep, I forgot.
So now, when you guys listen to your headphones coming off your iPhones, and you have your downloaded iTunes with your rock and roll music and the hip hop around that you guys have with the MP3s, all that's really happening is that there's a digital file on there, and that digital file is just telling the output jack of your headphones how much current to go to each little speaker. That's it. And as the current goes to the speaker, that moves, that makes the speaker move, and that's like if you have a sweet kick-in system in your trunk, you can actually see the speakers move in your trunk. Not that I've ever spent too much money on that. And so the bigger, and you guys all know the bass speakers of big woofers are huge, and they make these big, huge movements. Those big, huge movements, those are just bigger voltage deflections coming off of your iPhone. And so it's the same thing in your ear as it is in the trunk of your car. And so, well, it's the same thing to the cockroach leg. So all we're going to do is play music at the cockroach leg.
Those of you who know what's going to happen, cross your fingers. 1.
So does the leg.
Oh, awesome.
So if you want to get up and get with the beat, it's okay. And as you increase the volume, you increase the voltage, you get more out of your leg.
Oh my God, fist pumping.
Anybody has any glow sticks, get them out now.
That's so funny, because I was in a Jim Morrison mood today, and I was there the whole way here.
It's going good today.
Yeah, this is good. He's raising his hand. He just got
So we had a lot of conversation about what song to pick, but we need really heavy bass to get it to work well.
with no curse words.
And no curse words. That's my rule. Cockroaches
stimulating the motor neurons that are going down into the leg, and then those motor neurons are secreting a chemical into the muscles, and then the muscles are contracted. And so the pulse, instead of the brain creating a pulse so you have a nice movement, it's just the base. And so that's why the leg is moving with the base. And we're just shocking the nerve.